Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Dynamic Duo. My name is Travis Snell, and as always, this time's different. If you're on video, you can see I got a guest with me. Am I gonna spoil that? No, they're not gonna talk. They're just surveying the situation. But that's why I head over to YouTube to check that out. As I said, I'm Travis Snail. It's just you and me, the dynamic duo. That's what's going on. So, and as I've said before, I promised that Liam and Kyle either one of the two. Well, actually, Liam was on a couple weeks ago for Oscar predictions with the great Dilma, so that was good. But we will do a threesome. We will do a threesome with us together. The problem is, as I said, they're both traveling. One's in Japan, one's in Paris. I'm in Canada. So the thing is, and we always said once a month, the plan is to do that eventually, but I've also just liked doing these solo casts. If you were a longtime fan, I used to like doing these quite a bit back in the day. Had a child, that changed a bit, but now, as I'm recording this, it is 1:51 in the afternoon. I just got off work. I bike ride home. It's about -4 degrees here, so it's a brisk bike ride home, and and then after that, I'm gonna go watch Clone Wars because go check out Clone Wars season 7, the very first episode. Me and Taylor reviewing every single episode because we did the retrospective. We reviewed every episode of the show, so now we're gonna review the last season. So I'm gonna watch that and upload some stuff. So yeah, with the new job, it's tricky because I can sometimes work late. I don't know exactly when I'm going to. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do in my life. It's just I was awake. I'm like, you know what? I've been wanting to record Dynamic Duo. My plans usually try like Wednesday, Thursday, kind of somewhere around there, midpoint in the week. So my plan was earlier, but things happen and then works. I'm like, okay, I really want to record it. And I'm hoping that maybe my lifestyle, unless the job like levels out and I get home earlier, that's great. But if not, I used to be able to pull off 4 hours of sleep. Lots have changed. I have a partner now. I have 2 kids. I have definitely a lot more of an exhausting job and whatnot. So we'll see. Will I be able to pull it off? I don't know. But what you've tuned in here is for probably the title, right? We're going to be talking about Batman. There's probably not probably. There's some rumors going around about Robin, which are very interesting about who could be playing him. If it's true, we'll break that down. We'll break down. There's like been an influx of Disney rumors, Disney Plus rumors this week about MCU, all like the C plus tier route, but still lots of rumors I could point to maybe the villains in the next phase or this phase, whether that be on the TV or movies. We're going to talk about that. We're going to probably quickly talk about Batman and Catwoman having a kid. And then we're also going to talk about, I'm going to give you my 5 reasons, my 5 things, or the 5 things Arkham reboot needs, because that's been going around as well. There's been lots of like speculation, lots of like the past few weeks. There's a lots of deadline this, variety this. This has been a lot of like there's whispers and rumors out there on the internet web. So we're gonna break that all down. Before we get into this, and this is why you can skip ahead. I'll drop the links down below as far as the or I'll drop my links right now as far as video, audio. Go there. You can find us everywhere. Go to Spreaker. That's a big thing. That's our new hosting site. So we'd appreciate it if you go subscribe there, play us there. Apple Podcasts. Give us a review. I think we're at 165. We're 35 reviews away from 200. And if we get the 200 reviews, that will potentially open up some doors for us. That's what we need to hit one of our next milestones. So I would appreciate if everyone would do that, because lately there's been a lot of people throwing down 5-star reviews and whatnot. I think like almost a week and a half ago we were at 140. It always comes in influxes, that and then a break, that and then a break. So we really appreciate everyone that's been sharing that, everyone that's been doing that. So please do that if you haven't done that, if you like what we do here, and if you can't support us on Patreon, if you can't support us anywhere else. That's the easiest thing. It takes 30 seconds to go there, 5-star review. You got to do a written run. Even if you just say great and a title, that's all you need, because the number ones, they don't really count. I don't know. It's just when you do the podcast, you find lots like, oh, well, this stat is kind of like this, but it doesn't really count. And you're like, okay. So you need like specific things. So if you would take a time of your day to do that, that'd be great. Patreon, we're answering Garrett. He is a new patron, the dollar tier, so he's getting episodes early. The Bond Retro we're recording this week, he's getting episodes ad-free, so you can do that. And then also, we're going to be reviewing his questions, so you get a question. Every patron gets a question on news. We're doing a newscast this week. Jessica's coming back, so that's all the same. We're going to be talking about Love is Blind. We're going to be talking about some video games, the next gen and whatnot. I think Dill must be throwing down Dreams reviews, so we got lots of stuff popping off in the newscast with everybody else. And usually I ask you to donate to Patreon, and you still can, and I appreciate that. But I'm going to throw it in the link below. I'm going to start with 2 things. And like I said, you can skip ahead if not. I usually don't like to make serious or like real life things. But this is kind of, with the solo cast, I kind of get to model it the way I want. It's still pretty general to geek for stuff. And I appreciate, honestly, a lot of people. I talk to Clay all the time. Love you, man. But there's been a lot of new people as well following me on Twitter and saying they're fans of the show and whatnot, and specifically the solo cast. So it's not an ego boosting. Like, it's nice that it has it, but it's just nice that, I've been doing solo cast again and I've been getting support about that. So I really like that, and that's why, hence I'm doing it. So why I would say usually do Patreon, or don't do it this time, is because if you could do me a favor, I'm going to throw it on a link below. If you're not on Twitter or Facebook, you probably haven't seen this. Like I said, there's going to be two personal things, but this is a big thing for me. And it's, I'm not trying to get on a soapbox, do what you want with your money or thing like that. But Brad Williams, at Funny Brad on Twitter, go look into him. He's been talking about this all day at the time of this recording. There is Quaden. He's a kid that you've probably seen, if not, he's a kid that's been bullied quite a bit. He obviously has some kind of maybe birth defects. Maybe he was a little person. And I shouldn't say birth defects, but you know what I mean. He's had a tough life, and I think he has some sort of disease. I haven't looked into it that much. I just honestly, I saw the video and then I donated. You don't got to go donate a lot, and they've passed their goal. Their original goal was just to get this kid to Disneyland. I think they're at under 30K. So you might hear like, oh, I don't need to. But even then, past goal, I still did, because it's just, if you watch the video, it's heartbreaking. And I'm somebody that honestly I was not bullied that much really at all in middle school, high school, elementary. I'm somebody that I think everyone's gotten like the bare minimum, light teasing, right? Smelly, snelly, I got that. But it's for me as a dad seeing that video, it's tough. And this happens all around the world, but this is something that needs to be changed. I believe they're in Australia, and this is something that is a global thing. Obviously, there's, suicide awareness and whatnot, but it is a bigger thing, especially now with social media. It's going to be a bigger thing, and it's a thing that scares me, honestly, as a parent going forward. It's just nothing I really had to think about, and I just couldn't think about my, sweet girls being like this kid in this video. So it was honestly tough for me to watch. I watched it not a few times, but I had to stop a few times, and it's just tough because you see this kid, and he's obviously having a tough enough time in his life where he's born, and he's been different, and he's gonna be different the rest of his life. The rest of life he's gonna be judged based upon the way he looks. But as kids, they don't really get that. Some do, and that's the case here. That this parent has gone to school, not much is done. This kid apparently, I think the story was this time around he was dumped in a fountain and whatnot, and they went to a principal. He didn't really do nothing, and shame on that person. Like if that story is all true and it's all legit, and you go to a principal and you've seen someone's kid dumped in a fountain, and there's not much done, you're not talking to those other parents, you're a piece of shit. I don't give a shit what type of bad day you're having. So that's all I'll say about that. Is the links down below. Go do it, because it's just that's something for me that's important, and especially as a parent, there's so much bullying going along, and that's why it's like somebody oh well, why just this one case because the video went viral. Of course, there's a tension on it, but I think it's just people need to act on these things, and you kind of hope that if a big viral thing can have a positive outcome, that maybe more around the world people, the next time that principal sees a kid bullying, not even this one, just anyone in the world might see it happening, they might go, you know what, I should do something, or I should say something, or even just inquire about it. So go look into it. Big shout out to him, Brad Williams, for doing that campaign. So that's really good. Number 2, it's just a downer opening. I realize we're gonna talk about great comic book stuff in a second, and I'm excited too, because I'm dedicating this episode. I'm going to talk about on Geekverse as well to Kevin Bond. Kevin Bond, he's at a Bond Nation. He was at a Bond Nation. He passed away this week, and this is somebody that none of you know. But that's the thing. It's funny that thousands of you listen to this show, and majority of you don't know each other, and we're trying to, that's why we always say go to the Facebook. We're trying to create more of a community. We have a great community with our fans, but we also want our fans to have a community. We have a fan page. We want to think this year of more ways to build it and be interactive, but we're interactive with our fans all the time, but we'd love to see other fans interacting, talk about what they like, what they don't like, things like what we could change with the show. Kevin Bond, he was a guy, and I've shared the shared the link on Facebook and Twitter. So if you want to know his story, go take a look at it. Very young guy, very nice guy. He had a liver failure the past few years, and he had a tough time. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know him that well, but the thing is, why he stood out for me is when we started this podcast. When you get listeners that interact with you, you don't really forget them. There's one guy named Jacob that I've tried to look. I think he closed down his Twitter for who knows what reasons. and I can't find him. Not maybe his name was Greg too, but he was Greg, not from Super Civil, but another Greg. He used the Deadpool avatar and whatnot, and he was a good guy. But same thing for kind of just depression and whatnot. I shut it down, and but the fans, like the first 50, 100, or even just like the first 10 tweets you get, you really remember. And I remember he followed me and he followed Geek first, and we talked a little bit because at that time I think he was doing podcasting stuff. He was at the time, even when he passed away, working with a film website on articles and whatnot. So obviously had some interest, inquired, and he was just really nice because he didn't have to. And even then it was like a, oh, I'll share yours, you'll show mine. But it didn't feel like that. It felt like a friendly conversation. And I don't know. I think I don't know how much he listened to the show currently, because me and him haven't talked about that much because he had lots of stuff going on in his life. But the thing about it is, and this is why I bring him up, is because one, just I remember him just being like, oh, like, the reason I remember the most is because I said, oh, we're doing this. And he's like, oh, you guys are on iTunes, correct? And he asked all these questions. And I've been in this long enough where we're still such a small base, but I've been in it long enough where people are actually interested, or at least making effort to be interested, or just bullshitting you and just like, okay, cool, that's cool, oh yeah, that's fine, blah blah. You can tell. And he was somebody that, whether he put on a front, and which that is not the case from everybody that I've heard, he just has great stories about him after he's passed, or if he cared, which I think he did, or he knew that we cared or I cared promoting it, so he wanted to help, or he wanted to get invested or talk about it and listen to the show, which he did. And you remember those. And throughout the years, I followed him on my personal account, and we talked many times about just comic book stuff. And that's why I know that, like I said, we never were. I'm a lot closer with some other people, I'd say, that were in the Geek First, but he had a lot going on. But it's just tough because he was such a good guy. It's just every interaction. I guess the reason I bring him out too, another reason it sticks out, is because recently I had an interaction on Twitter where I considered myself friendly with the person, did some stuff with that person podcasting wise, and it just went a sour route, and it just kind of sucks because you kind of go, oh, it was everyone on Twitter that you don't know personally. Like, are you just waiting for that one tweet to happen and they're going to turn you? And this was a guy that we could always joke around, we could always poke jabs at each other, we could always talk about stuff. And I remember he would retweet something from Geek First or be very supportive, as like I said before. But just in general, we talked about comic stuff here and there, and me and him had similar views on stuff, but yeah, it wasn't shocking because he had written this article before he passed, and he'd expressed many times that he was sick and everything like that. But that's the biggest thing I'll say. Is it sounds like a small thing. It's a first world problem, but it might not be for some people. And the thing is, on what people say, like film Twitter, just Twitter in general, always just try to be nice, be cordial, have fun, talking and whatnot. Because the thing is, this is a guy that I think I'm always going to remember, as far as he didn't have a massive impact in my life, as far as, we weren't friends and went on a road trip. He wasn't this or that. But the thing is, it's the idea of him. And that's why you go read his article, because he really fought hard, and he was really, lots of his friends described him as a hero going through this experience that knew him a lot better than I did. And he really was. And it was this thing that when I think about Geek First and the origins of it, I'm always going to think about Kevin. And it's weird. It's a weird thing because, like I said, I don't even know him that well. I didn't know him that well, but it's just weird because he was such a young guy, and it's just we've reached that stage now where it's just that shouldn't be happening with such a young guy, and someone that's not. It's a guy, the perfect example of he got a fucking raw deal, and I can understand that, and that happens so many times in life, but that hasn't happened with me in the podcast. I listen to other shows all the time where they might have a fan pass or whatnot, and that's never happened. And the fact that happened to us is just weird. And when I think about that now, this is something that I would not have wanted to think about till years from now, or never. I would like to maybe pass before he did or something like that. Like, when you think about the beginnings of Geek First, I'll be like, even then, like, I looked at the last DMs or the first DMs that Geek First had with him, and it was like the first 3 weeks of joining Twitter, and it's just strange, and it's just, but that's all I can say is the two things that Kevin did is because everybody can get a little grouchy, and kind of inform me again that always be nice, always if you agree with somebody, and that's even what I already try to do, because me and Kevin had great conversations, but if not, try to find a correlation, whether that is on a Twitter talking about film. You can start an argument, but always go, hey, where are you coming from? Let's talk about this. And there's been many people I'll talk about that we've talked, maybe started as argument, and then it went great, and we started following each other. And that's the same thing in life. You can't always do it, but the best example you give was trying to be as nice as possible and good as a person as possible. And then the second thing is just life is short. I know you know this. We've probably all, I hope you haven't, but we've probably all had that moment where a friend has passed, a family member has passed, you've wanted to say something. We've all been there. I've been there many times in my life, but it's still a good reminder because you don't want to forget it. You don't want to forget that whether it's someone you love or whether it's yourself, you got to do everything. If there's something you're waiting to do, don't wait. Like if it's a trip to Disneyland, like, hopefully Quaden's going on and you don't got the money. That's unfortunate, but you know what? Find a way. You got to use you got to use that credit card. You do it, like make sure you live as good as life. Try not to put off too much to, yesterday. And I try to do that, especially with kids, having kids. It's always tough because sometimes, especially with this job, I get tired and stuff like that. Oh, I'm just going to nap. But it's like, if I nap, that's 3 hours gone. And that's 3 hours that, I missed them at this age at 2 or 5 months, So a big shout out to Kevin. Yeah, this is dedicated to him. I hope that, the conversation of, life and death and heaven, all this stuff, that's for a different podcast. But I hope no matter what you ever believe or whatnot, I hope somewhere, he's listening to this or he's just having that geek goodness because he was a true geek. He's a really good guy, really funny guy. And yeah, me and him really bond too. And he was just talking about he announced that he was expecting a child. And I think it was shortly after mine. And yeah, we just talked and just, and just casual stuff. But it's just, it's good. It's all casual, just fun conversations, but I'm always going to remember that guy is a great dude. So, Kevin, shout out to you. You're going to be truly missed, and I doubt any of their friends listen to this or family, but any of them, if they were, I wish them all the best. It's a shitty situation. All my thoughts and love are with you, and yeah, it's just... He was a good guy, really funny, really nice, and that's what you want. I guess that's another thing too. Is look at this. Me and him only had, so many interactions over the years, but I'm always gonna remember him with a positive light, and always gonna put something forward as far as man, that was a good guy, and even in the shittiest situations, because go over his story. In the shitty situations, me and him would still talk, and he'd just be chipper, and he'd make your day better, and you'd always walk away being like, man, this was a fun conversation. It was a good Twitter exchange, and yeah, so shout out to you, Kevin. You'll be missed by everybody, including myself, and I thank you because we thank people all the time on this podcast, but we do mean it because everything we have would not be without it. There's a chance that even if he retweeted one link, that somebody saw that and has been a fan with us for the past 4, almost 5 years. So I appreciate all you that do that, and that's why I just want to say again before we end the news, we're gonna get something chipper, but we appreciate y'all, and yeah, life can sometimes suck, but we love y'all. The fact that even if you take a few minutes every day to listen to us, it's crazy. So, Kevin, we'll miss you, and thank you very much. So let's talk about some news. Where do we want to start? I'm gonna start. It's tough, right? It's always tough. You start with the Marvel, you start with the DC, blah, blah. Let's start with DC. Let's start with Batman because Batman's my boy. Batman's my guy. So let me take a drink here. Sorry. There was a lot of heavy stuff there, so it was tough to get through. And if you've listened to this podcast for years, you know I'm an emotional person. And plus, at 2:09 in the morning, probably even more so, right? So there's rumors going around, and these are rumors that are not from anyone big, not Deadline, Variety. These are like the D tier rumors, but still, you never know. Speculation can happen, and we've heard this before. There's rumors going around that Batman's going to... There's 2 rumors. I'm not sure if they're the same one because the sources are coming from, I think, some Mexican websites, and you never know because I don't think they're filming there, but I thought they were filming there at some point. Maybe I'm wrong because I know they're doing Gascalow in Ireland. Glasgow. Right? Anyways, so you never know. It can happen. Again, these scoops. We've seen it before. Remember when the Obi-Wan, it had been rumored before, but remember when Obi-Wan was scooped, it was by this very little website, and everyone's like, nah, whatever, it's just this website. And then all the trades came and say, oh, it's legit, it's our exclusive. So you never know. And I'm always going to talk about these rumors. And the reason is, and there is 2 rumors, I'll get to the second part of the rumor, is because months ago when there was listings of, hey, this character's in it, this character's in it, this villain, blah, blah, blah. Robin was appearing quite a few times, and there's been a lot of characters in these lists that have appeared, like Catwoman, like Riddler, like Penguin, like Alfred. I'm joking. Alfred, of course, is going to be it. But there's ones like rumors of like Firefly, and that really hasn't happened. So that's why sometimes you got to sift through and go, okay, maybe half of it was true, half of it wasn't. But there were rumors of Robin in the past, and there's kind of some inkling again, some whispers going around. And then the second part, and that's why I don't know if this is the same one or if this is an additional rumor for someone else or if it's just a messy thing, because that's what the rumor game is. If it's not Deadline or, Variety, Hollywood Report, a news report or even then I won't call it they do speculation. It is reporting because most time they're right or they're pretty close. These are all rumors. These are maybe somebody in production knows somebody, blah, 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 right? It's always like Reddit stuff. Lots of the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker stuff got on Reddit. There's lots of false stuff that got on Reddit, but people know people. So the second part of this rumor is that Timothée Chalamet is playing Robin. So where do we begin here? Timothée Chalamet, one, if we go a certain route with the year 2 and the Robin, I'm going to love this Matt Reeves Batman because, as I've talked about a few times on the Batman, there's a Travis Snell Batman treatment out there somewhere for the first movie. And this movie is lining up a lot to be like mine, so I'm a little jealous that way. So, you know what? I was probably never going to direct a Batman movie already. So that's why I can say, I never did because Matt Reeves, he did it right. No, I'm just joking. But so... is this Robin rumor true or not? If the whole rumor is just it is Timothée Chalamet playing Robin, I'm going to say no. I don't think that is the case. I don't think... I've seen this thrown a few times. I just don't think Chalamet would be the choice. He's too old. He's too close to Robert Pattison. I think if we get Robin, we need we get a kid and younger age, and it becomes an apprentice-mentor relationship, right? If you don't know anything about Robin... that's the way it is in comic books. That's the way it is in animation in the truest forms as far as the actual Robin relationship. In my opinion, it's not Chris O'Donnell. It's not even Nightwing. Nightwing is the evolution of the Robin relationship. You need a child because Bruce is supposed to be like a father figure. At the time, a very poor father figure. But you almost look at, and I wonder, and I did think about the Robin rumor as well. When he tweeted out, Matt Reeves tweeted out initially that Robert Pattinson was playing Batman, he used a gif from Good Times, if I'm pretty sure. And that movie is about 2 characters that Robert Pattinson takes under his wing that are younger. He kind of is a criminal in that movie and he abuses them just as far as his power goes, but still was that idea of, okay, there's these younger characters that he can influence. Kind of the same thing as this, right? I think it'd be influencing for good, but there's that relationship of, hey, should you be training a kid to be a, criminal fighter, vigilante? That's a solid question. So if it's just the Robin and Chalamet, I don't buy it. I just don't. And maybe they could. That would surprise me. I really don't. I feel like Timothée Chalamet might end up in one of these superhero franchises, but not that way. And I do think he's too old. And I think Matt Reeves, from everything he's shown me, especially right now, there's a set photo going around of Robert Pattinson's chair on the set is titled Vengeance. That's fucking badass. If you don't know, one of the Batman's quotes is, I am the Knight, I am Vengeance, I am Batman. This guy and the people working on it, no, they're fans of this material. They're Batman fans. They look like diehards. That to me just gave me shivers. Like, my goodness. Vengeance? So I feel like they know enough to not... I'm not going to say go against the comic books, because you can, but I just feel like Matt Reeves feels like a big Batman fan. And I feel like you would not go that route of... Because I'm guessing Chalamet is like, what? 20-something, right? And that's because Robert Pattinson's been around longer. He's actually older than Bale was when he took on the role. So let's see. He's 24, so he's younger than me. So let's see here. But even then, I don't think 2 years ago I should have been playing Robin or anything like that, right? But I guess if you're going their older, younger relationship. He's 33. So there's not even 10 years in between. And of course, someone that's 9 could be a mentor towards somebody that's younger. I'm not saying that, but I think the age has to be there. So if that's the rumor, I'm going to say it's not true. If the rumor about Robin is in there, I could see that. And the same way as far as people saying, did you see that? Yeah, Batman PJs. There you go. Spoiled. I got the t-shirt on, but then PJs underneath. comfort, ladies and gentlemen. So if Robin is in this, I think that is a bit more likely. Well, I think it is likely, but I think in the form of Dick Grayson. The same way I keep pointing out that they said Edward Nashton was cast instead of the Riddler or Edward Nigma, and they said Selena Kyle was cast and not Catwoman. Edward Ashton, okay, unless maybe he's playing a mastermind in this movie and he goes on throughout the trilogy, okay, I could see you kind of playing it up and you don't need to say Riddler, fine. Him saying Selena Kyle, though, still makes me think there's a chance that we don't see Catwoman. She has the haircut, yes, and there's been rumors of a costume, but you don't know how much that costume's in it. You don't know how much she's actually playing Catwoman. So I think there's a chance that Dick Grayson could be in this. That is... I'm trying to think of a percent. Okay, so here, as a big role, a main character, I'd go 25%. As far as a cameo or just being set up, I'll go 40% on that. I'm not giving the full pass just because there's so much going on, but I do think there's potential for it, and I do think if you want to tackle something new in Batman, that's always what I was hoping to do with, not I was doing, but just anybody to see with Robin, and honestly what I would have done is using Robin, because that relationship is just filled with golden potential, and it hasn't been even been touched upon yet. So, you know, Batman and Robin, but that didn't really work out. It feels like people are scared of it, and I love Christopher Nolan, but we only saw a little bit of, John Blake, and that's not the real Robin. So it's interesting. What I want, of course, I would like that. I don't know if it has to be first film. I think the setup, as far as maybe if you see the parents die, he adopts some things like that, that's fine. But I don't know if it starts off with him and Robin right away. I think we need to establish a new Batman. Then you get in that relationship. You can start the relationship here, but as far as Robin being a main character, main player, I think you need to let that settle a little bit. So I think those are my odds. I want to have him because, man, I love Robin. I love Dick Grayson. He's my favorite Robin. He's in my top 10 favorite comic book characters. That's the reason I watch Titans, which can sometimes be a very awful show. So, yeah. Let me know below. What do you think? Is Robin going to be in this? Do you want him to be in this? Now we're going to the MCU. We're kind of all over today, but we're going to the MCU. There's been a lot of rumors. There's rumors and speculation going on, but as you can see in the title I put, is the Disney Plus MCU shows leading to one of the next big bads, right? Because, so the first rumor we have going around today from multiple sources, I'd say like the C tier rumor list, is that Red Hulk is going to appear in She-Hulk. Well, that's the thing. So I've seen different sites reporting things that he's going to be in Thunderbolts, and I don't know if his setup is in She-Hulk, he's going to be in She-Hulk, or he's just going to be somewhere in the MCU. So I've seen multiple rumors, at least all pointing from different sites, that Red Hulk is coming, and it makes sense because they reintroduced Thunderbolt Ross, right? So that's in play. Lots of people have said, "Oh, you're gonna do Red Hulk? He's 70, blah blah." He just needs to show up as General Ross, William Hurt, and then he transforms, and then he gets an actor to do that, and he can provide the voice. Even if, who knows, maybe they lock him as Red Hulk, and he's stuck that way, and then you never need William Hurt to do it, right? So I think we've talked about this for a while, and I think it's pretty likely. As far as the three options and what has he set up, we've been talking about. That was my pitch since Ant-Man 2. I've been saying this, hashtag Trash told you, before there was even rumors of a Thunderbolt, because the way they left Ghost open, I was like, there's this villain. Thunderbolts is a big thing, and it makes sense that he could be on that team. I still think there's a chance that it seemed like they're going more villains from the rumored rosters we've heard throughout the years, but I don't understand why Bucky Barnes is not on that list. I understand that they're going to rehab him, and he's going to be a hero now, and he won't have the mental problems, but still, they've kind of been recently, the past 3 years, been doing a lot of, they do something in the comic, and then like a few years later, you see it in a movie or TV show, and he was leading the Thunderbolts. So, but now they've cut his hair, and they've taken his mask away, so not as cool. So that's fine, but I think you do set him up somewhere, and it sounds like all these will be set up somewhere, and it's going to be kind of like a Suicide Squad sort of deal, which I'm sure they don't want those comparisons, but I think it's a good idea. It makes sense. I'm very interested because the She-Hulk news was that, and once again, all rumors, I'd say like C+ tier, is that they are going with the comic book origin of she is Bruce Banner's cousin that we've never met, never heard of. She, just like comic books though, so that's fine. She gets shot, and then Bruce gives her a blood transfusion to save her life. And I'm very interested to see how they pull it off, because so many times I'm like, oh, you're really gonna have a guy in the MCU called Victor Von Doom? That's a little on the nose. But then you do have a guy named Stephen Strange, and they just look past, right? So maybe they do just go with the obvious. I just think if you've been shot, and especially now, with if he could have been Bruce Banner, I'd see it as like, oh, maybe this will work, or the doctors wouldn't know. But if he's just Professor Hulk, Smart Hulk the whole time, it's like, is this really a good idea? So I still think they're going to do some tweaking to it. I just really don't think it's going to be like, boom, transfusion, here you go. But if that's the case, Red Hulk's a perfect villain for that. One, they're going to be these shows are going to be expensive, because if you have 3 Hulks in a show, that's going to be quite big. She-Hulk might do the whole old Bruce Banner transform back and forth, right? So maybe you save budget there, and I think that's what they will do. But if you got 3 Hulks, it's going to be an expensive show, but that to me makes the most sense. I don't think he'd just appear in Thunderbolts. I think you're definitely going to set him up. But the fact that he is in Black Widow, and then there's rumors about Red Hulk almost on every of these properties going on, I think it's 1, going to happen. 2, I think he will be in Thunderbolts. And 3, I do believe these, even their C+ rumors, I do believe that they will be in She-Hulk. And I wonder, because Black Widow, we've talked about this. I'm not alone. The rest of the geeks are here too. Is Black Widow, they're going to do something, right? They know the movie's a prequel. It's about a character that is dead. So there might be some, oh, what's going to happen? Like, do we really need to see this? They're going to do, whether it's in the movie or post-credit scenes, a few things to get people talking and be like, oh, you should go see it because there's something big in it. I don't know if this is the case, but hinting at Red Hulk, or maybe him even turning into Red Hulk in a post-credit scene, that would get a lot of people talking, and that would show the future. Now, the thing is, obviously, that takes place in like 2016, 17-ish, right? But you can have a post-credit scene in the present day and a you know what I mean? Post-credit scene in the present day in our MCU present day. So I think it's likely. Maybe they don't do it then, because maybe Thunderbolt Ross is in Falcon and Winter Soldier. So the timing of it, who knows? But I think it's going to be in between there, and I think it's going to happen. So, and I'm excited. Let's get Red Hulk in there. He's an angry motherfucker, so I'm down. And I'm missing some of that Hulk action. I think he'd be a good addition to Thunderbolts. Just like the Hulk's good addition to Avengers, it would work. Now, the other rumors going around, and these are more speculation. The speculation on my part is, one, with Zemo going around. The other reason why I think you could have someone set up in future movies is the Masters of Evil from Marvel. That's a group, and we've talked about many times that they've done so many, big bad with a bunch of lackeys versus the Avengers. Thanos, we got a little bit better, because those were all kind of like the Black Order was all like mini bosses, and we've said we should get that before again. And that's why I do think it's still possible that Zemo, he's rocking the costume, he's looking more comic booky, that it is still possible that we get a Masters of Evil team versus an Avengers or something like that. So that's one. The other speculation going around, and I don't know, but so Loki, and I don't think you talked about this podcast, we had those Super Bowl teasers, and then it was teased on he was in prison or something like that, and it was the TVA, I think it is, the Time Variance Authorities, I think that is, which I was not too familiar. I've heard of them, but nothing. I don't think I've ever read a comic book or anything like that. I've heard the term. I heard, it's like, okay, maybe I've heard that thrown around in an animated show, but nothing. I was like, oh, the TVAs, no, they're not my crew. But so the rumor going around that Loki is a show where he gets arrested by this group because he's messing with timelines, right? And he's going to maybe start working for this group. These have been more of a mix of speculation and maybe a tad bit rumors, but more on the speculation side. But lots of people are speculating that Kang could be the villain of this series. And there's 2 options. That one, people, I can't remember her full name, but Gugu, whatever. She is the girl opposite of Mackenzie Davis in San Junipero, one of the best things of all time. So she's fantastic. She was in that Cloverfield movie, not the greatest, but she's a phenomenal actress, so stamp of approval. She was one of my picks for Storm, so I'm kind of bummed by that. But she got cast. And then the other person that got cast was Owen Wilson. So people have been kind of throwing out 2 things of, one, I've heard that they could, what is it? Gender swap Kang, which I don't know if I'm for, just for the fact of, if you look at Kang, he is, and if you don't know him, the origin that I know and the origin that I feel like is most popular, or at least the most talked about in the circles I run around, is he has a very Thanos-like arc where time travel messes with his planet, messes with his family, and he is time traveling to maybe mess up the Avengers or mess up some sort of events. Whatever he's doing, time traveling is affecting our hero's world, but he is doing it to either fix his timeline or to punish the people that hurt his. I'm more familiar with the fix his timeline, and that makes sense. So it's kind of what Doctor Doom's had in the past, where at one point he saw a version of the future where the Earth and whatnot was fine and safe, but Doom was the one running it. So in his mind, he goes, well, I have to run the Earth because if I don't, everyone's going to die, and it creates this complex, right? So he has a very Thanos potential-like story. I just think the idea, and maybe it's because I've read him, not so much, but read him enough where I picture him with a wife and kids, and I go, okay, I guess you could just swap that to make that a woman, but it's just, I just wouldn't do that the same way with Enchantress. I wouldn't just be like, yeah, well, that can be a man. It's tough because I think they also do want to do bigger female villains, right? Because you kind of go, oh, other than a gender or a race, you go, is there anything that those two things need to be for that character so it can't switch? And I guess technically not. You could make it that Kang's a woman and she has her husband and children. That's fine. I just want to see Kang. So if they want to go that route, I'm not gonna boycott. I'm not going to be terribly upset, but I would go, oh, okay, that's kind of a little bummer, especially because I kind of have that character in my mind. I'd rather them create a female villain or go and get one and bring her up like Enchantress, like they were going to do Iron Man 3, but they got kiboshed. I'd like to see that. So, and then the rumors of Owen Wilson playing Kang, I don't think so. I just don't think. People speculate because it's a secretive role, right? That can mean so much. I feel like when Sam Neill got cast in Thor Ragnarok, that was a secret role. You remember what Sam Neill was in Thor Ragnarok? He was the fake Odin on the play stage. It's the same thing that happens in Star Wars all the time. These people get cast in these secret, unknown roles, and then you got Carrie Russell over there. She's in the movie for 5 minutes, not much impact. Really like Zoe Bliss, but so he could mean something for comedic value. Maybe they go to an episode where one episode Owen Wilson is playing Loki and it's some like weird alternate reality and they don't want to spoil that. I just don't buy. I buy that they would gender swap with if I had to only take one and it was the Gugu gender swap Kang or the Owen Wilson as Kang, I take Gugu every time because at least I know that's a great actress. I like Owen Wilson. He's in my favorite comedy all the time, Wedding Crashers. He, for the most part, plays himself over and over. There's a few times where it's different, but he's pretty similar. And I think that is a casting where you would just see Owen Wilson. Unless he had a Bryan Cranston, Malcolm from Middle to Breaking Bad turn, I don't think he has that in him. I really don't. And I don't buy that speculation or rumors, whatever it is. I don't buy that. I don't think it's Owen Wilson. I think we're all safe there. And I wouldn't want that. I'd look at it and I go, that's a miss. You really need to prove me. The same way. Even then, though, with Kristen Wiig, I still go, oh, you got to prove me for Wonder Woman 2. But that, I go, okay, she's still new enough in her career that we haven't seen everything. She's just leaving SNL, too, like, not that long ago. So it's like, we still haven't seen everything from Kristen Wiig, so I could buy that. She might be able to pull it off. Do I know if she can? I don't know. From the trailers I've seen so far, the very little, haven't been a fan. But I would think that Kristen Wiig would be a better Cheetah than Owen Wilson, a better Kang. So I don't think that's happening. I don't want it to happen. Let's just put a whole a no stamp on that. So, but that's why if you look at that, you got Kang potentially in Loki. You have Red Hulk in She-Hulk, which and then maybe Zemo survives and creates Masters of Evil. To me, Masters of Evil makes the most sense to become a movie. Kang does as well. But the thing is, for me, I just don't buy, because there was rumors sometime, maybe 6 months ago, that there was plans to introduce Doctor Doom in a TV series on Disney Plus first and then in the movies. I just don't buy if it's going to be someone that is a big bad, that is the next, not even Thanos, but Loki or Ultron. I don't buy that they introduce them in a TV show. Not yet, at least. I think they want to build up a subscriber count, which is already at 28 million or something like that. But I mean, more so people entwined with, oh, okay, I gotta watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, I need to watch WandaVision, I need to watch Loki so I can stay with this. Start putting these little sprinkles, and maybe characters where I go, I don't know this guy, and they go, something there, oh, he was in Loki, and blah, 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 and he's and that's Owen Wilson, and he's really important. Then you go, oh, okay, I'm gonna watch just like the other movies. Maybe if it's a tad like end credit scene like they did with Thanos in Avengers, where it's just a glimpse of Kang and you go, oh my god, that is him. Maybe, but I just don't see the way Thanos was using Guardians 1. I don't see that. And if Owen Wilson is playing him, if Owen Wilson was, or even Gugu, you'd feel like, oh, there'd be in a bit more. So, an incredible Red Hulk, I just don't know, because I need to wait and find out with Thunderbolts, is that going to be a film or a TV series? I think it's going to be a film, but you never know. And the Thunderbolts, they are bad guys that turn good, but you could always still, again, when we're talking about team versus team, you have that ability if you really wanted to, right? So I think they are using it as a testing ground. I think they definitely are setting some stuff up. Some of these rumors I believe, some I don't, but it does feel like they are kind of setting the groundwork for Phase 5 or some other thing. So it's interesting. I cannot wait for August until those shows get here. So the other rumor that's going around, oh, this is a juicy one. So there's a rumor going around, and I think this one is pretty more like B tier, that Isaiah Bradley has been cast in Captain America. And if you don't know, and I can't remember his first name, I just know the Bradley family, because there's a kind of Captain America at one point gets like a new Bucky named the Patriot, and he's an African American black guy, and that's who Isaiah Bradley is as well. And I'm not too familiar with this. I had to read up on this. I'm more familiar with the Patriot. I'm just not a fan of that character. Like, he's just always been kind of annoying for me. I think I always remember from Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2. It's like, I don't want you on my side. But so there was talking of saving the way of She-Hulk, like what the plot was. Apparently the plot for Falcon Winter Soldier, which we kind of even guessed before with Endgame, and then rumors backed that up, or at least I thought this was, okay, so he's giving Cap a shield. He's going to feel a sense of maybe he doesn't deserve this, he hasn't earned it, and if the government is working on U.S. agent and he sees that, he goes, that should be Captain America, super soldier serum, blah, blah, blah. And I think, the story of it's going to be that he's going to realize you don't need to be, the white man poster boy. You don't even need to have the super soldier serum. You just need to be representing Captain America, the core of Captain America, the values, the heart, the drive, the passion, the love, that wholesome, trying to do good for America and the people around you. All those values, right? But then the rumors going around is that he's going to have a change of heart as far as he's not going to want Cap, not want the shield, but he's going to find out about this original Captain America, and there'll be Isaiah Bradley. And so this rumor came out, and the weird thing that's in this, and I don't have the link for it, so I'm sorry. Go to Disney Plus updates on Twitter. They're really good at tweeting out whether it's anything about Disney Plus, and they usually have the link, everything like that. In the story itself, it said two things where it said, okay, this is a soldier that was trying to recreate Captain America. And it was like some about Falcon has a change of heart potentially, or at least wants to become Cap. And maybe that is the idea, is that he doesn't want to become Cap. I don't think these are full spoilers. I think this will be like a general plot of the show, or I wouldn't be dropping it. I think he'll not want to become Cap. He'll see this and go, I want to become Cap. But the government's like, no, we have our own Cap, so, which is U.S. agent. I think that, that's where they're posing it, that he either was they were trying to recreate the Captain America the serum, or that Falcon saw the shady history of S.H.I.E.L.D., and this is the original Captain America. And it said this both in the article, and I think the case of it's just poorly written, and that's the case of what do we go with. The first story I like that, okay, and obviously clearly, and I talked about this before, that race is going to have, I think, a part to play in this show. You already got the parallels of U.S. agent being white, and maybe government saying, we want him to be Captain America, not you, Sam. There's many reasons, but I think they play in a race. I think they haven't done that since Black Panther, so that fits right in there, and it works with the U.S. government right now. And it does also work of seeing maybe this guy, Isaiah Bradley, he didn't get the full serum or didn't fully work out, and he's also a black man, so he can be inspired by him, right? I can go with the first one as far as, okay, he was another experiment, didn't work out, but he still took on that mantle, and I could do that same thing. The second part, or like I said, the second like version of this, and that's why I think it's a poorly written article, or that could even mean it's false, that he was the original Captain America. Not a fan of that, because I'm not even a fan of, and that's why I think I saw that and I'm like, oh man, people are gonna have a heyday, because you're gonna have people like myself that just go, ugh, I don't, which I'll get into. I don't like the retconning of, oh, this was really the first Captain America. You're gonna have a bunch of stupid ass racists going around that is like, oh, like of course they had to make him the first Captain America black, and that's gonna be exhausting to hear. And then you also just got, I think, mainstream people to be like, oh, that's kind of weird, or I don't get it. So back to me, and for why I'm not a fan of it, I don't really care who the first Captain America would be. If it would have been a white man, a black man, a woman, an alien, doesn't matter to me. It could be Baby Groot. I wanted to be Steve Rogers just for this continuity. I like the idea of, okay, we were trying to create another one. That's where Isaiah Bradley came in. If we do something like, oh, well, secretly before Steve was Captain America, there was a guy, Isaiah Bradley, who was the first Captain America, but he ended up dying, so Steve took it, and he got all the credit. One, I think that also, if we're talking about race, that puts Steve Rogers in a potential dangerous situation. He might not know it, but to be like, this guy created the Captain America, slogan, and then some guy just takes it from him maybe after he dies, unless Isaiah Bradley's there, like, I want Steve Rogers. And that's where just like you get all the stuff where I hate, and we talked about this in Saw retrospective. Go check that out years ago, but it's on the feed somewhere. They'd always do this thing where, okay, Jigsaw was the killer, but really there was someone else behind the stuff. There was a trainer. He had an apprentice. Okay. And then this apprentice went off, was doing some bad stuff against Jigsaw, and then Jigsaw would take them out and go, how do you do that? Jigsaw was dead. Well, he had an apprentice before Amanda, you see, blah, blah, blah. And then there would be Hoffman, oh, well, there's an apprentice before Hoffman as well. And then even in the last movie, spoilers for Jigsaw, one of the worst horror movies of all time, they're like, oh, those 3 apprentices Jigsaw had? Well, guess what? Secretly, there was a 4th one that none of them knew about, and he was before all of them. I hate that shit when they have to do oh, this person's more important because they were first. No. That story of them trying to create another Captain America and this Isaiah Bradley character maybe being like, fuck it. We can't do the serum. It's not working, but I'm still going to go out there and fight for people, fight for my country, fight for especially black Americans at that time that they still have a hard time in our culture, but even back then, right? So to me, that has more power, and it's not as lazy just going, well, he was the first, so that's why he's important. That's why, and that just feels. I'd rather another way him be inspired by, like I said, the serum doesn't work, and go that way. Not just, oh, the first Captain America was black, so that's how I'm going to be inspired. That just sounds kind of lazy writing, and I hope that's not the case, because that's what I love about Black Panther. It tackles race, but it's not lazy about it, and it's not just kind of like a Lifetime family movie way, and that feels like a Lifetime family movie way. So I hope that doesn't happen. I think they got to be careful with this one if these are true. I'm all fine for the Bradleys being introduced, and even Patriot. I think he's kind of an annoying character, but I don't care. There's been rumors he might be on Young Avengers. Sure, do it. There's characters I found annoying before that I end up liking. So that's the route I would go. I hope they don't do this kind of retconning of, oh, well, Steve wasn't the first. Even if you do different experiments, fine. But if you look into Isaiah Bradley, he has the Captain America costume. He's worn it before, stuff like that. I think the better route to go is after Cap, because then I feel you also kind of you do kind of damage the relationship a little bit between Falcon and Steve. It's supposed to be this full on, oh, this is the guy and he has all the values I need to be Captain America. What can I do? And I think it just enforces it too. If it's after Steve, like, oh, there's another person that has these values, I can do this. Where it's like, oh, well, Steve wasn't the first. Did he take these values from them? It just gets muddled and messy, and I don't want it. I don't want it. So we'll see how it happens. Still excited for that show. One of the shows I'm most excited for. And yeah, we'll see. What else do we got in the docket? So talking about Batman, we'll finish off with 2 Batman things, because there's rumors going around that the Batman Arkham game is a reboot instead of a sequel. Now, I have it somewhere. Where do I have it? I don't. There we go. So I have, if you're watching the YouTube cutout, it's 5 reasons why what Arkham reboot needs to do to stand out or be good, or just what it needs in general. There's 6. I picked 5 because 1, I only thought I was going to have 5, and 2, 5 is just a more sexier number for the video, right? And the title. 6 is a weird number. 5, you see all the time. Top 5s, top 10s, things like that. Top 6s, you don't really see. So that's the rumor going, I'm fine if it's a reboot. cool. That's the Arkham series is kind of done. It ended in a way where I didn't know if they're continuing. Spoilers for Arkham Knight. 5 seconds. I'll take a drink. They reveal Batman as Bruce Wayne. And he's on the run and everything like that. I didn't think there was much of a story there. And we've heard lots of rumors about this, that at one point this game was about Damian Wayne. At one point it was a follow-up to Arkham. At one point it was a prequel. So we've heard all this stuff. But then this report came out that it's a reboot, but it still might have the Arkham name, which is kind of strange. So I don't know. It's tough, right? Because that's the thing. Do I believe it? I think I do, but do you really want to lose? I thought the Arkham prequel was the better route to go, because even myself, who is not a fan of prequels, and especially Arkham Origins, didn't make much sense. They kind of changed some things from the other Arkham games that didn't really flesh well. So I get that. You want to have an open canvas and do whatever you want. I just think if you call it Arkham, you're feeling like you're in that universe. So if it is a reboot, just a full-on, we're starting over, even if it's called Arkham, and the rumors are still going that it is Court of Owls based. That's a big thing. That's the big thing I was going to say. And you know what? Maybe to keep it a top 5, I will put these two together. So there you go. I'm cheating right on the spot. So my 5th thing that you need, number 5, as far as what does an Arkham reboot need? New villains, old villains expanded upon. So someone like, Professor Pig or Jervis Tech as the Mad Hatter, people that were in the Arkham games but had smaller side quest roles, or even you could do a great story if you think about like Doc Ock in the Spider-Man games. If you did a great story with Man-Bat and Kirk Langstrom and how he becomes Man-Bat, maybe you're his friend or maybe you're just working with him and you have to hunt him down. It's a bit more personal other than just him attacking in the sky. I think you need to do that. New villains, that's great. Even Professor Pig was in the last game. Someone like that would be good. You haven't really touched upon... I guess you've touched upon Roz. I was gonna say more Talia al Ghul and stuff like that, but that's fine. Black Mask you haven't really touched upon. He got done so dirty in Arkham Origins, so I'd like a redone of that. But Court of Owls is the way to go. I think that's a perfect story. If they adapt that comic book, the set pieces in the game are nuts and would be fantastic. So, especially the maze thing, imagine what you could do. They did some great trippy stuff in all those games, especially the first one with Scarecrow and the last one with Joker, when he became Joker and you saw the Jokers and whatnot. There was some great mind-bending stuff. So I think the Court of Owls provide that in many ways. And this is the asterisk as well for this. That's why I made it 5, because this was a single point by itself, but I'm going to say it. He's one of my favorite characters. I'm looking at 2 posters of him right now. An actor just won an Oscar playing him. Joker. Leave him out. You could do an end credit scene, allude to the Joker. Maybe that's the end credit scene of the game is maybe there's a mission where you're after somebody and you knock somebody in a pile, like you're in Ace Chemicals and you knock them in there. Set them up. Sure. Don't put them in there. That was the frustrating thing. I guess not in 2 ways, but so Black Mask, like I said, was the villain Arkham Origins, but then it was just revealed it was Joker under the Black Mask, and he had taken over Rome Cyanus, like shoved him away somewhere. So that was disappointing, and it wasn't disappointing because in Arkham Knight the story is done so well. But at first, it didn't feel like a cheat, but they killed him off in City, and they're like, oh, he's not coming back. He's definitely dead. And then he's with you the entire game. Now, I loved that aesthetic, and I love the idea. You know me. I love the whole Jiminy Cricket scenario, so I give them pass because the story was great. But at first, when it came, I was like, the Joker again. And even that story has a lot of Joker-centric moments, right? So, no Joker. Even when Batman Telltale, and I get it, everybody I feel like that loves Batman wants to tell Batman and Joker story. I feel like everyone has a different version or a version with a little differences of that relationship and that character. So I get it. And if they do it, I won't be mad. And I love seeing Joker. I love seeing different interpretations. I even love that Telltale one they just did. So that's why if it's something really different, sure, not damage Jared Leto. But I think for right now, you put him on the back burner and you wait and you focus on making a great Batman game without Joker. And that's a task in itself. 2, the combat stays. The reason I say this, I think they just have to fine-tune it a bit because in Origins, it didn't feel as smooth as Asylum and City. It just felt like something was a little bit off, whether it was the countering or the smoothness of it. I don't know. So 1, even in Origins, I like the combat. That has to stay. But 2, it has to be freshened up a bit, or at least made to be comparable to the other games. I think that's the reason with it hearing it's a reboot. I don't want to lose that. I don't think they would, but imagine if they put out that game and didn't have that combat system, those gadgets. No, that would be a big no. So I think that's what they need to do. The combat needs to stay and it needs to be fine tuned. So that's number 2. Number 3, I know this sounds pretty obvious, but is a great story. The reason I say that is because I think Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, fantastic stories. I think Arkham Knight is the Joker stuff and whatnot. That's a fantastic story. The Arkham Knight, that was a little underwhelming. We kind of all knew that where that was going. I'm fine with adapting stories, but then if you're going to adapt them, you fully adapt it. And spoilers for Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight ended up being Jason Todd, who was the Red Hood. If you're going to do that story and adapt it, you need to set up and not be tongue-in-cheek of like, oh, the Arkham Knight is a new character, but really we're just going to throw in Death of the Family here, and we're doing a Death of the Family game. I would rather them just start that way. And when all this game is about, this game is about Red Hood. That's what I would rather. So not this big twist that I don't think anybody, unless you're a smaller child who doesn't have experience with Death of the Family, or a newer fan, I shouldn't say that, but just if you don't know that story, anybody that was hardcore into Batman that was playing these games, that was, a slap in the face if you thought that was like a reveal, right? So they need a great story. And the other reason I say is because Origins was, to me, a very weak story. I don't think the Joker as Black Mask thing really worked. I think the Bane stuff was fine. The best stuff was Deathstroke, and the story was good, but that was more about the fights. And the thing is, for me, that was always weird, is that they already felt like they wanted to make their own world, because there's a lot of ties or things like that to me didn't really fit with the Arkham Asylum and City games. So this is a prequel, and to me it just didn't fit in that box, or didn't even feel like that world. So that's why for me I worry if they can't even make it fit with that one. You could make the case that they have their own world, they can do whatever they want. True, but the fact that they couldn't kind of adhere to what they were trying to make a prequel of kind of worries me a little bit. And that story to me stays the least with me, other than it's about Batman's year one, right? That's cool, but it's not a year one story that's up there. There's been many stories in Arkham Asylum and whatnot. Arkham Asylum, the video game, is up there. Maybe it's the best story ever told there. This didn't add anything more to the origin, which is tough, but it can happen. Number 4, if you're doing reboot, new voice cast. I can't believe I'm saying this, because I always I want Kevin Conroy as my Batman because he's the best Batman. I want Mark Hamill as my Joker. I just think you got to go with a new vibe, new take. And some people might be disappointed. I don't want the guy from Life on Mars. I don't want the guy that's doing it right now in the DC animated movies. I like him as actor, Jason O'Mara, I think his name is. He is not right for Batman, in my opinion. I'm always disappointed when I see his name in the credits. It just does not feel like Batman. And I've heard other Batmans that aren't Kevin Conroy that I like. I just think it feels like someone trying to be Batman. So, but that's my biggest thing, is you gotta get a new voice cast, change it up. Even if that's why some people won the Batman Beyond game. That would have been great to get him, Kevin Conroy's old Bruce Wayne, but I don't think that's happening. So make it your own style. Make it same way we talked about with the story, as far as the world, the looks of the character. If you do Joker, that's fine. I don't want damage, but do a different look. Don't make it Mark Hamill's Joker from the Arkham games, right? Even though you're going to be calling it Arkham. Maybe we can say that Arkham Origins was really a prequel to this game. Maybe that's what's going to happen. So, new voice cast, really stud it out. The last few games were about kind of being almost like a continuation or a tribute to the animated series. Don't do that. Make your own path. Number 5, the biggest thing. I don't think this is going to happen, but I got to say it. If the very, very light on Batmobile, because the last game, love the Batmobile, love the way it controls, love everything about it. It was a fun aesthetic to have and a fun mechanic. And just be light as far as do not make it what Arkham Knight did, where almost every second level is there's a bunch of tanks, there's a bunch of cars. Oh shoot, this is how the finale of the Batman game is. You have a tank and you're just shooting a bunch of guys down, tanks down. So boring. It's one of the biggest things that takes down Arkham Knight so many notches, and it's so disappointing for the finale of that franchise, right? For Rocksteady. We don't know what they're working on. Maybe they're working on another Batman game. I doubt it. I think it's going to be something else, but very disappointing. So don't go down that route. I'd love to see the Batmobile, but I guess that's number 5, is use the Batmobile wisely. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see like a, bat bike, kind of Nolan-esque. I'd love to see the plane. I'd love to see the boat, but it's more likely the bike or the mobile is gonna happen, right? Or it's gonna be in play. I think it might not even be there. They might not take on that challenge because they didn't do it in their last game. But you never know. You got Corral, so there's lots of running around Gotham, so maybe you're going to be finding them driving after them. Who knows? But if it is, use it well, use it sparingly, and use it right, because that was not the case in Arkham Knight. So those are my 5. That's what I think is needed for the game. 5, 6, Let me know below what you think. If there's something you want, something you don't want, if you want Raw, because we've heard rumors that's a multiplayer, you want Robin and Nightwing. Let me know what y'all think down below, or in Twitter and Facebook. And yeah, I'm very excited. I just want an announcement. I want this game to come out because I am very, very excited for it. But it's just, I'm tired of every Games Award, Gamescom. We get nothing. Finally, this will be a quick one because I'm honestly a little behind in comic books, and I'm behind this right now, but it's obviously made shockwaves in the internet that Batman and Catwoman are having a kid. Catwoman is pregnant. So the reason I say this, the preferences as far as, I have not read the actual comic book. I've read the Tom King, most of his run, and I haven't read the last 3 or 4 issues of it. I read it for the Batman, I should say this, the Bruce and Selina stuff. I think Tom King, who is a really good writer, I loved his Vision run. I think he is really great at writing the Bruce and Selina stuff. Maybe one of the best ever, honestly. He's up there with Jim Lee, but the Batman stuff for me was never the greatest. When he did that first run of like the kind of the Wonder Twins or whatever kind of knockoff, the War of Joke and Riddles, I was never a fan of his Batman stuff. And that's why I felt less obliged to read. That's why I'm behind. Where Scott Snyder, I love everything he does. I think he's one of the best Batman writers ever. He's top 3 for me, easily. I think he does everything well. But with this, I love the Bruce and Selina dynamic, so I was a big fan of that. So I'm going to finish that. And obviously, got spoiled. That's fine. But it's just more the idea of, I've kind of seen a band about, like, is this a good idea? I don't see why not. You can say I'm biased for 2 reasons. 1, Catwoman was my first ever crush with Michelle Pfeiffer, and 2, I love that relationship. But I think that's why this is a new dynamic, because Batman's been going for, what, over 70 years? Catwoman's been around for a while. What more can you do? And obviously, Tom King was doing a great job of fleshing out the relationship, finding out this yin and yang, like really yin and yang, to not someone, like Love is Blind saying, you're the yin and my yang. Like, no, Selina trying to deal with, hey, I want to be with you. I love you, Bruce Wayne, because, there is a darkness in me. There's darkness in you. But together we can kind of somehow get in, like, it sounds weird, but kind of like double negative and create some sort of light and be that balance for each other. But then there was a point where she didn't marry him or couldn't be with him because she felt, what if I married Bruce Wayne? Will that take Batman out of Gotham? And Gotham needs Batman because look at it, right? So there was great dynamics that he plays. So that's why I do trust Tom King. And like I said, his Batman stuff I was never always the biggest fan of, but the Bruce Wayne Selina stuff he knocked out of the park. And I think that we've not seen him with a kid of his own, and that's where people might push back. Oh, you like adopted children, Dick and Tim. I get it, but seeing Bruce with a baby, it's a trope. Many people have done it. Dexter did it, putting him with dark characters, a baby. But it is something, because when we got introduced to Damian, he was a 10-year-old already, so it was kind of just Robin all over again. This is going to be very different. This is going to be a good dynamic for him, but also a great dynamic for Selina. Selina is my favorite female character of all time, and I'm a big Batman guy. For a character like that has been through so much, that is constantly, she's been a bit better now because her and Bruce, like I said, have found that balance, but still that, I imagine they're going to butt heads a lot when they parent. And I imagine that could lead their divorce. But this is a run that I think opens up so many possibilities. If you're not into that stuff, that's fine. If you're into the Batman breaking bones, I don't know if this will be for you. But Tom King, I think he does better at the personal stuff. I think you look at that Vision run. I think he does good with family things. I think he does good things with a relationship that, what if you are put in the situation of these characters? How would they react? Many times if it's, hey, I got your friend captured and this is a new trap. We've kind of seen that before. And I think some people can do it very smart and very well done. And I don't know if he achieved that, or even stuff with his villains. Like, I wasn't a big fan of his Riddler and Joker, so he didn't bring anything new. Or he did bring some stuff new, stuff that I didn't really care for. But these dynamics, relationship dynamics, personal dynamics, I think he nails. And that's why I think Bruce having a kid, how's that gonna, just the simple, him being a crime fighter, him fighting Gotham, how's that gonna happen? What's it gonna be like being a parent? He's gonna be lots of flashbacks to his dad and Martha, and Thomas. So that'll be good. And Selina, same thing, very different life. Is she gonna be worried about hurting this child? Is she gonna worry about Bruce softening this child? How's even just Alfred gonna be with this baby? There's so much fun stuff, and I'm obviously somebody that has 2 kids, so I might be a bit more open to it than other people. But I think there's lots of great routes, and this right away, the second I saw it, I went, okay, 1, I love you, Tom King, because he got them married, so that was finally, and then 2, he made this happen, stuff that I would be doing because I love these 2. But 3, it's just that made me go, okay, there's so much to play with here with both characters. I went, okay, I got to read the last 3 and I got to get into this. And I'm very excited. I trust Tom King with this route of Batman, and I think it's a good idea because it adds something new to the fold. It adds something fresh. It adds a different coat of paint and dynamic for both those characters. You potentially create another new character. That comic's going to be huge when that baby's born. We're going to learn the name and everything like that. I wonder if it is going to be Thomas or Martha. Who knows? But yeah, I'd give the stamp of approval because even then, I don't just approve of everything. Batman, Catwoman, and Joker. It has to be good, and I think there has to be reason behind it. I think there's reason to explore this route for both characters, and that is the good thing. I don't feel like it's just a gimmick. I don't feel. Some people might have thought the wedding was a little bit of a gimmick, and I think it was, or it felt that way when the wedding happened, and then it didn't happen because there was a whole story with Bane and whatnot. But that did feel like the classic comic book of, oh, you said this big reveal, this big wedding's going to happen, and like the soap opera, they left and couldn't do it. I did feel like, and I dropped off for a little while after that because I did feel, okay, this is gimmicky, and you just want to push some sales. If she's pregnant, which she is, and if she loses that baby, again, I will feel, oh, this is just to push ratings. That'll kill me if they do that. And I will probably, honestly, if they do the whole, oh, you lose a baby because of, crime fighter or something like that and what could have been, there might be some good stuff that will probably lose me. That would be it with me, and I'd be again kind of very disappointed in Tom King. And I shouldn't say I'm very disappointed in Tom King. When he got Batman, I was very excited, and it just didn't reach my hypes. But the Bruce Selina stuff did. So, what is it here? 3 a.m. Woof. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for tuning in this episode. Like I said, all links down below for the video and audio. We got lots of great stuff coming up. So thank you very much for tuning in Dynamic Duo. I cannot wait to talk to you all next week at some point. Who knows? And I promise you will not be boring and will last. See you later.